Welcome in to this edition of USL Pro Weekly. My name's Nicholas Murray. I'm very pleased to be joined by David Wagner. And David, two standout striker performances this past weekend, starting off with VSI Tampa Bay FC's Mauricio Salas, sets a new USL Pro single game record with 5 goals against Antigua Barracuda FC. And the thing that struck me most about this performance was the clinicalness of his finishing. I mean, it really was hitting the corners and really finishing very strongly throughout each of the 5 goals.
Yeah. If you know anything about Mauricio Salas, whether you're watching him in USL Pro, you're watching him in MISL, he's a guy that likes to shoot. He'll shoot from anywhere, and he doesn't mind it. We've seen some great strikes from him this year, going back to the Portland game or some of the other ones where he's had some long-distance strikes. In this game, he came out and he shot like he usually does, but his finishing was fantastic this game. On point, clinical, just like the word you used. Just a great performance by Mauricio. We know he's the guy that has the talent to come out and score the 5 goals every game. It's just whether he finishes or not, and he did this week.
Really, some very good finishes, some very good supply play as well from guys like Shawn Shindra in the midfield.
Yep.
I think my favourite goal of all of them, though, his 5th goal. You don't often see Mauricio Salas score with his right foot,
Yep.
and that was a terrific finish past Melvin James, who a couple of days later put in a great performance against Orlando.
Yeah, he was motivated a couple of days later against Orlando. He had a great game.
Now, Dom Dwyer, on the other hand, we've seen this consistently throughout the season, and 2 more goals, a great left-footed strike against Phoenix on Friday, and then doing what he does best, splitting the defender, making a good run, and a clinical finish against Antigua on Sunday. How many more goals do you see him scoring this season? Because it certainly seems like he's going to get at least 20.
Yeah, I mean, the way he's trending right now, it's going to keep going that way. So as long as he's an Orlando player for me, that total's just going to go up and up and up. I mean, with the pieces that they have in place to supply them, we always talk about all the time whenever we talk about the U.S. national team or whenever a team has a scoring problem, it's getting that supply, getting that service. Well, he gets that service there. So as long as Orlando keeps playing the way that they have been, he's going to score goals. His movement off the ball is fantastic. He puts himself in great positions, and he finishes. Point blank, he's been finishing everything this year too, which, a lot of guys get that chance, but they don't finish. He's taking it.
The other big story of the weekend, the Interleague play. And I think we saw 5 games this past weekend. We've got another 4 coming up this weekend, and we'll talk a little bit more about that on Friday. But some real balance in these games. We ended up with 3 draws, including a 4-4 thriller between Dayton and Columbus. We had the Charleston Battery come out and put in an excellent performance to beat the Houston Dynamo, and then a really nice comeback by the Colorado Rapids reserves to kind of break the Harrisburg City Islanders' momentum a little bit. What was your big takeaway from the weekend's action between MLS reserves and USL Pro sides?
Yeah, I know when we first made the schedule this year, I highlighted this week on my calendar, these 2 weekends actually, there was going to be a lot of opportunity for the crossover play given the MLS break in its schedule, essentially, with some of the teams taking off for the international window. I was excited about it, and it lived up to its billing. I think we've seen a lot of good games already this year, be it the Phoenix RSL game, which we're going to see again this weekend, but it lived right up to it again this weekend. You look at first Charleston coming out, doing the business again there, getting the clean sweep there. Colorado getting a little bit of revenge on Harrisburg. And then the real exciting game for me was that Dayton game. Just a heck of a comeback, back and forth the whole game, up and down the field. Just an exciting game from the point of view of any neutral.
Now, we'll go 4 more games on this weekend in Interleague, but before we get to that, we do have 2 US Open Cup games on Wednesday night, with the Charleston Battery going to visit Real Salt Lake and Orlando City going to visit Sporting Kansas City. Now, Orlando is going to be without Dom Dwyer, John Kempin, Jan Songo, and Christian Duke. They're loanees from SKC for that game. But last year, the Lions went into Sporting Park and only came away with a 3-2 loss. Is there a chance they can challenge and maybe cause the upset of the round?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, they're going to give them a handful again. We all know how talented Orlando is, even without those lone players. I think the difference this year is they've still been rotating their players too. So even though Dom Dwyer's really been tearing it up, it's not as if a guy like Chin or somebody like that hasn't been getting minutes there. They've still been getting minutes. They've still been playing well. So they're not coming in cold. They gave him a handful this year, or last year. I expect them to do it again this year. But let's not can't sleep on SKC. We know they want that trophy back again this year, and they're going to come out with a real A team. And the other game for Charleston, it's going to be a tough one. They've been playing really well, but going on the road never makes it easy too. RSL is always a quality side, but I think that I'd love to see an upset this week, and I'm not going to rule it out.
You can see both of those games. We're expecting there to be live streams of both games on Wednesday night. We'll have reaction to that and a recap on Friday as we look ahead to the USL Pro action this weekend. Until then, we hope you enjoy tomorrow night's games, and we hope you join us on Friday. For David, my name's Nicholas. Thanks for joining us.